Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. One of the greatest things about doing this channel and being so Jordan-centric and sort of having a big mouth, right, and a relatively growing, bigger platform is that I've got incredible people that watch this channel that dig even deeper than I do, who live and breathe the numbers. Today's video, one of the best viewers of the channel, and he's done this before. I've got another episode where he's provided me with an insane spreadsheet of sortable data. We're going to look at the Michael Jordan cards that were graded in the year 2025 Q1. So we're talking about January, February, and March. These are the cards. We're going to look at the gem percentage that were graded by PSA and BGS. We're going to look at the total number of gems, like the easiest cards to find gem copies of. We're going to look at the cards that have been graded the most by PSA and BGS. And we're talking specifically about tier 2, 3, and 4 Cajun Cardboard Michael Jordan hierarchy cards. I've got all the data for you. If you're a gem snob, if you're a grade snob and you're looking to pick these cards up in the highest grade, I've got the spreadsheet and the information that you need. I hope you guys enjoy these nerdy, deep dive, detailed, intricate videos. Enjoy.
See why Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data. We know what you want because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors. Card Ladder. Join the innovators, not the imitators.
All right, guys, as I said in the introduction, I've got tons of data for you. This is going to be a little wonky, right? It's not going to be smooth sailing because I'm going back and forth. I need my reading glasses to read from a little sheet of notes that I've made, but I've also got a shareable spreadsheet that we're going to bring up on the screen. There's a little teaser. It's coming in just a second. Before we get started, we're going to look at some general data, just to kind of give you an idea of where this data is coming from, who provided the data, et cetera, et cetera. So you know it's reliable. And again, don't shoot the messenger. I am just relaying information. I'm just a conduit of information. So forgive me. I am 50 years old, 51. I lied. And so I'm going to put on these reading glasses to give you some data. Okay, so first and most importantly, I want to be clear. This is provided by a gentleman named David Talbot. He's reached out to me on prior occasions. He's provided me with data. I've done a video with the data that David provides me in the past. He's given me data specifically primarily about Q1 of 2025. So January, February, March of this year. Here we are. I'm recording this in July, right? And so it takes some time to kind of process this, but we're primarily talking about the first 90 days of this calendar year. And then he sent me a much bigger spreadsheet. It would be very difficult to digest comparing Q3 and Q4 of 2024 versus Q1. So I really want to hyper focus on the Q1 data and make sure it's a digestible, set of information. And so he basically only tracks 200 cards from the Cajun Cardboard Michael Jordan hierarchy. Well, you're asking why? Why 200 instead of 360 or whatever the number is in the hierarchy, right? In all four tiers. Well, some of these cards just don't transact often enough. So it would really be an overabundance of cards that never gem or cards that you just never see. There's so many cards that are serial number 25 or, maybe even serial number to 90 or 100 or something like that. They just you never see them. And so all that data would sort of skew this. These are going to be cards that you can actually touch and feel. Now, some of these are still going to be crazy rare gem cards, but I just wanted you to know he's tracking 200 cards, 36 from tier 2. And you guys know there's 54 total cards in tier 2. He's tracking 65 cards from tier 3. And for those of you that collect on a little bit more of a budget, the good news is he's tracking 99, so almost 100 cards from tier 4. All that adds up to 200 total Cajun Cardboard Michael Jordan hierarchy cards that David has tracked for us. Just to give you some general numbers, guess what the average gem percentage was of these 200 cards in January, February, and March combined? This is PSA and BGS combined. Guess what the average gem percentage was? We're going to look at the ones that graded the best, but guess what the average gem percentage was? You guys are not going to believe this. It is this many, 3%. 3 out of 100 cards. So all of those guys that are new to the hobby or say, hey, Cajun, I was going through, and I get these messages every single day, right? And they're like, Cajun, I was going through my closet. I've got a, blah, 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 fill in the blank, and Illuminator T1B that I found, and it looks perfect. I think it's a PSA 10. It's not. I'm just going to give you a heads up. It's probably not. 3% is what you're looking at, and that is with some of these cards, believe it or not, grading over 50%. Some of these cards that we're going to look at today, I'm going to show you the cards that grade the best. So you know if you've got a raw card, your best likelihood of getting a PSA 10 or BGS 9.5. We're going to talk about those cards, but 3% is the average, so keep that in mind. How many gems do you think were added over the past 6 months from these 200 cards, right? Just these 200 cards, the answer is 494. So in this whole world, with all of us out there who love to collect Michael Jordan cards, we're just looking at the 200 of maybe, it's a little bit more than half, it's about 60% of the cards in the hierarchy. Only 494 gems were added over the past 6 months. And that's not the first 90 days, that's the past 6 months. How many cards were graded over the past 6 months? 16,559. 1,134 of the 16,000 were just 86 Fleer sticker and the 93 Scoring Kings. So let that sink in. The 86 Fleer sticker and the 93 Scoring Kings were graded 1,134 times together over the past 6 months. That's a lot. The 5 most graded cards, right? You ready for this? I'm going to give you, and we're about to share the spreadsheet, and we'll talk about some stuff, and I'll do some picture sharing and some show and tell. The 5 most graded cards over the past sorry, that was the 87 stick. Yeah. Okay. So the 5 most graded cards over the past 6 months, 86 and 88 Flicker, 88 and 86 Fleer sticker were far and away the most. Okay. But after the 86 and 88 Jordan Fleer sticker, the 5 most graded hierarchy cards that he tracked over the past 6 months, the Ultra Scoring Kings was graded 1,011 times. Not one gem was added. 1,011 times. People, 1,011 93 Jordan Scoring Kings were sent in to PSA and to BGS. 0 gems were added, so you can give up hope on that. The 1987 Fleer sticker, 774 were submitted. Guess how many of those gemmed? 0, that many. None, not one. That's the 87 Fleer sticker. How about the 92 Stadium Club Beam Team? When we think of kind of foundational, the basis of Michael Jordan insert card collecting from the 90s, you think of the 93 Scoring Kings and you think of the 92 Beam Team. I'm sorry, those are the first 2 cards that people think of when they think of Michael Jordan 90s inserts in parallels. And those are the 2 that usually bring people in. They see the Scoring Kings, they see the Beam Team, they say, I want that, give me that, I want to be a winner. So the 92 Stadium Club Beam Team, 409 were submitted, 4 gems were added. Even in South Louisiana, we know that's a 1%, right? So 1% of the 92 Beam Teams that were graded came back a gem, and this is PSA and BGS combined, remember. The 93 Finest Refractor was graded 377 times, 0 gems, none added. The Ultra Power in the Key was graded 361 times, 0 gems added. So just quickly glancing at this, that's 1,700, 2,100. That is right at 3,000 submissions and 4 gems were afforded. So of the 5 most graded cards, 5 of the most graded cards, right? The ones we just named, the Scoring Kings, the sticker, this Beam Team, the Finest Refractor #1, and the Power in the Key, about 3,000 were graded and 4 gems came out of that. That is a very, very, very low percentage. Let's see. Despite more cards being graded in the past 6 months. Okay, so is the MJ market doing well? More cards were graded in the last 6 months than in the prior 6 months. 7% more PSA 9 sales in volume than 6 months before. So PSA 9s are starting to move. This is something, and 7% doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a huge sample size. PSA 9 sales are starting to increase in volume. Why is that? Well, we know why that is, because if you look at what a PSA 10 Power in the Key or Scoring Kings was, 12 months ago, it's probably a lot more today. And you can say that about damn near every card in the Cajun Cardboard hierarchy. The past 12 months have been really good for investors in Michael Jordan cards and really bad for those of us still trying to get them and collect those cards, right? And so when the PSA 10 runs away from us from a price standpoint, PSA 9s tend to grow. So 7% growth in PSA 9 sales volume. And then PSA 9 average sales price has grown 5%. Keep that in mind. 5%, $5 million of PSA 9 sales in the past 6 months just on these 200 cards. $5 million in PSA 9 sales. Tier 4 PSA 9 has seen the strongest growth. Okay, so think about that. You know what that says to me? That means more people are getting in. That means more people are coming in. And where are they starting? They're starting Tier 1. They're not starting buying a red PMG. They're not starting by buying, an Ultra Stars Gold. They're going to start down here in Tier 4, right? Where mere mortals dwell, right? Where the mortals dwell. And I still love picking up Tier 4 cards because I'm missing tons of them, right? And so Tier 4 PSA 9s have seen the strongest growth, even compared to Tier 2 and Tier 3 over the past 6 months. Okay, so that's all the general data. Let me put that to the side. I could put these reading glasses up, and I can put my phone over here to the side. Let's get a spreadsheet on here and let's start sharing some cards and doing some show and tell. Okay, you guys want to know, Cajun, just tell us which cards are the easiest cards to grade. That's all we care about, right? Well, David has provided that information for us. I've got this sorted by highest to lowest. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. The card that, there's 2 cards that you actually have a better chance of getting a gem than not. There's 2 cards. You probably could have guessed the Flare Hot Numbers, right? That's the card we always talk about. You have a 50-50 chance of getting a Hot Numbers PSA 10 or BGS 9.5 when you submit that card to grade. But this is the card that actually has the best gem percentage over the first quarter of 2025. It's the 1997 Ultra Abilities All-Star Michael Jordan, and you can see it is a pop 165 in PSA. There's about 260 total gems. This is going to be a little wonky here, right? It's got a historical gem rate with PSA of 46.74%. With BGS, it's 65.71%. More have been graded by PSA. When you put those things together, that's the card. 53% is the gem rate on that thing. Flare Hot Numbers is exactly 50%. We talked about it. There it is right there. Again, you always got a great chance of grading this card. When you grade with PSA, there's a 31% chance. When you grade with Beckett, it's a 69% chance. When you smush those things together, they both graded almost the exact same. 772 with PSA, 721 with BGS. When you smush those together, you get right at a 50% gem rate. And then we talk about the Topps East West Jordan Kobe Refractor. That's a 49% gem rate. That card right there, just shy of it. We know about that card. That's an amazing card. 98 East West Refractor. People love it. Why? Because it appeals not only to Jordan collectors, but also Kobe collectors. There's 2 refractors from the 90 and the Mystery Finest, and this one that features Jordan on the front, Kobe on the back, or vice versa, however you want to slab the thing. But this card right here is another card, 49% gem rate. If we look at the pop report on that one, there's 113 PSA 10s. Again, much better chance of getting a gem with BGS, a 73% chance with BGS, a 31% chance with PSA, and when you smush those together, you get a 49% chance. What are some other ones? How about the base Triumvirate Luminous, a T1B, that has a 48% chance. The Topps Chrome Champion Spirit, we're going to talk about that card a little bit more in a second as one of the most graded cards as of Q1 2025. And then the 98 Finest Mystery M1 Jordan. And then here's a shocker to me is that we're going by percentage. Remember, look at these percentages and look at the cards. The Stadium Club Illuminator. This is big brother. This is the maybe 70-something print run. 46% for the T1B, 45% for the T9B. That is shocking to me because that thing, both of those cards are so intricately die cut. Specifically the T1B, there's die cuts, edges, corners. There's like 50 corners, 100 corners on that damn card. It seems like there's stuff everywhere. I probably could have screen shared it, but you guys should know those 2 cards, the Illuminator die cut, the Triumvirate Illuminator die cut, first series, second series, both of them crazy die cut. You would think with all those corners and edges and pointy stuff going on that there would be a much lower gem percentage, but that's not the case, all right? So we've looked at the cards and we've sorted by the cards that graded the best. What if we sort this by cards that graded the worst? Well, it's not going to surprise you. There's a lot of cards where you're just not going to get a 10. Look at how many of them are below 3%. It's real simple. And look how many times some of these cards have been graded. So we'll start with the 87 Fleer sticker, none. Let's start with the 88 Fleer sticker, none. And we're rounding down on these. We'll start with the Stadium Club Fusion, members only, none. Fleer sticker from 1986, 1%. Stadium Club Beam Team from 1993, 1% as well. Let's go back here. Let's just talk about which cards in the Cajun Cardboard hierarchy have the most gems out there, okay? Which cards have the most gems out there? Number 1 is a card, you guys are going to be happy about this because this is another one of those foundational sort of basic four figure, maybe just shy of four figures in a PSA 10 that you can pick up, but the damn card's beautiful. It's this 94 Emotion Intense. This is a Michael Jordan insert. It is gold, which resonates with ultra-modern collectors, and it kind of, maybe you could pull an ultra-modern collector back to the 90s if they see one of these Jordans, say, I want that Jordan gold, not really knowing what they're talking about. This card, like I said, you can still get this card for under $1,000. $915, $835, $999, $799, $836. You know, if we look at the history of this card right here on Card Ladder, and we look at it over the last 2 years, it's still moving. This is a card that was, you know, a little over $650 about 2 years ago. Now it is steadily $850 to $950, right? That's where that card's at. But look at that growth chart. That's a lot of sales. Why is it a lot of sales? Because there's 648 gems. There's more intense PSA 10s than most Jordan base cards from the 90s. So keep that in mind. And we know this card also grades very well. The gem rate's about 33%, so about 1 out of 3 grade PSA 10 or BGS 9.5. The one thing you have to be very careful with, at least in my experience, I've graded about 7 or 8 of these over the years, just picking up raw ones, picking up collections and things like that. I've had it come back at least 2 or 3 times min size, and I'm not sure why anybody thinks I would have, or somebody would have trimmed an intense card, but and I guess that's not the allegation, it's just cut short or whatever. But be careful with these. Sometimes they come back min size. My best advice is send it back because every time that I've had one come back min size, when I send it back, they grade it. It doesn't make any sense. I hate it. You guys may have experienced that as well. I can't stand it. It's just what it is. So Skybox Emotion Intense has more gems than any of the other 200 cards that are tracked that were tracked by David. And again, this is not 1,189 gems over the past 90 days. This is how many there are at the conclusion of March of 2025. And like I said, if we go back here and we look at the total number of gems, it says 1242. And the reason it doesn't match is because, remember, you're including SGC in there as well. And so he's not including SGC on this table, but Card Ladder is including SGC gems in their calculation. So this is just PSA and BGS, which is, I guess, what most of us in the 90s collect. No disparagement of SGC. There's a place for SGC, certainly in vintage, and then a lot of people are trying the cheap route on the ultra modern stuff, and that's great. But again, and I've had arrows shot at me about this or bullets fired my way, I just don't think cards from the 90s, the Michael Jordan cards, are going to max value if you grade them in an SGC slab. I just don't believe they are, because most of the people that collect Jordan cards in the 90s want them in PSA or BGS. Some people don't even want them in BGS, but if they're old, like me, when BGS was king and you're used to it and you don't really feel the sting of not having your card in a PSA slab, I think most people side on the PSA BGS side and grade their cards, their 90s Jordan cards, at least that way. So what's the second most number of gems? The second easiest gem of the 200 cards in the hierarchy to track down? Champion Spirit. This is a card I talked about very recently. I picked up one of these in the Thunder Down Under collection. I made it for sale. It's up on Fanatics. I think it's either buy it now or it's in one of the upcoming weekly auctions. Again, now's a good time to remind you, go click on Fanatics. There's a Cajun Cardboard filter. I'm selling over 500 Michael Jordan cards over the next 7 weeks, and 400 plus are PSA 10 cards. Yes, you heard me right. Go check out that filter. This is an easy one to pick up. Why is it so easy to pick up, Cajun? Why is it $225 for a PSA 10 Michaal Jordan insert? Topps Chrome was the shit, man. People love Topps Chrome. Here's why. Because it's been graded 1,981 times, and 40+% of them grade PSA 10 or BGS 9.5. It's just really easy to get a gem. I still, given those numbers are not that different from the Intense, right? We looked at the Intense. What did we say? That card's been graded a ton of times. 3,764. So twice as many Intense have been graded as Champion Spirit, or about, right? Something close to that. Almost exactly that. The gem percentage for the Intense is better, and yet the Intense is almost a $1,000 card, and the Champion Spirit's a $200 card. Put all that stuff together, then you factor in aesthetics. The Intense looks better than Champion Spirit, but does it look 3 times better, 4 times better? Because it's 4 times the cost. And that's why sometimes I say cards are undervalued. I don't mean, well, it might be a combination. Maybe the Intense is a little over and the Champion Spirit's a little under. And again, maybe some of you are looking at the screen saying, this guy from Louisiana is an idiot. Look at the Intense, look at the Champion Spirit. You know, one of them looks way better than the other. Maybe, that's your opinion. Flare Hot Numbers, we talked about that card having a high gem percentage. Well, what happens when you have a card that's not really that rare and has a really high gem percentage, the second highest of all the cards that have been tracked by David Talbot? You get the most number of gems. And so The Flare Hot numbers shows its ugly head again here with 241 PSA 10s. It's 485 BGS 9.5s. There's even 2 black labels and 15 BGS 10s out there. So 750 total gems if you include SGC, 740 between PSA and BGS. After that, we've got the Metal Slick Silver. You guys know how I feel about that card. I love that card. Slick Silver, Warp Speed. Those are the 2 cards I really love the aesthetics of. The Slick Silver, there's 486 PSA 10s out there. And then the Topps Season's Best Sticky Fingers, believe it or not. I was very surprised at this. It's got only a 21% gem percentage, just like the Slick Silver, but there's 475 PSA 10s out there. That's a lot. What about its brethren, the Topps Season's Best in Fuego? Also, only a 16% gem percentage, but it's just not that rare. There's 410 gems of that as well. How about the Nike Oversized Promo Jumpman, right? You guys know the Nike, the Jordan Nike rookie poster card, poster looking thing. It looks like the shape of a postcard. That card has 463 gems. Most of them are BGS 9.5 if I recall, but that only has an 8% gem rate. That card is up here, is one of the few cards with a single digit gem percentage, but still a huge gem population number, quantity. And that, when you put those things together, means they just printed a hell of a lot of those things. There's just tons of them out there. They printed and printed and printed. And the other card that's kind of in that same boat is down here. It's the Stadium Club Bean Team. 6% gem rate. That's not high, but there's still a ton of gems out there to get. 284. Why? They printed the hell out of them. The pack odds are not that hard. It's a foundational piece. Everybody who's got one has graded it. And even though it grades very, very difficult with a 6% gem rate between PSA and BGS, there's still 284 out there, so you can get your hands on one of those. All right, what about the total number that have been graded? Let's do that. Let's go to Z to A. Here we go. Guess what? It's sticker, sticker, and sticker. First is a 28,900 times the 86 Fleer sticker has been graded, and there it is right there. That is a lot, 28,900 times. We pull it up right here, and you can see 32,595, but a bunch of those are SGC, so when you subtract the SGC, that's where you get this 28,900. That card is really, really tough to gem, 128 gem 10s, and look at the percentage for PSA, the gem rate, 0.5. Look at the gem rate for Beckett, 0.45. So when you smush those together, you get about 1 out of every 200 that are graded come back a PSA 10. And as we talked about in the introduction, none have been graded PSA 10, I don't think, in the last 6 months. The next one is the 88 Fleer sticker. So right here, we're going right back to those stickers. Another, this one is even crazier because the pop is, yes, you heard this right, 12. Okay, you're telling me the pop is 12, right? But it's been graded 15,000 times. Put that together. What is that? What's that gem rate? Yeah, it rounds down to 0. At least the 86 Fleer sticker can round up 0.51. You can round it up to 1%. The 88 Fleer sticker, 12 PSA and BGS combined gems, 12, and it's been graded 15,000 plus times. That is otherworldly, out of this world. What does that mean? That means you go here. You go right here. Look what I've got on this chart also in this column. You go straight for the PSA 9, and you grab the PSA 9 for $3,000 instead of grabbing the PSA 10 for $34,160, okay? Go with the PSA 9, relax. And by the way, Card Ladder thinks that's about 10,000 shy of what it would sell for today. 34,000 was a sale exactly a year ago, almost 369 days ago. Now Card Ladder says, hey, let's try 45,000 for the next sale. And then the next card is another 87 Fleer sticker, and this one's crazy as well. There's a 24 pop. The card's been graded how many times? 14,000, so it's almost like the exact same thing. Still rounds down to a 0% gem percentage, which means don't even try it. Here's the deal. If you got an 86, 87, 88 Fleer sticker, am I telling you not to grade it because it's not going to get a PSA 10? Of course not, because look at the value of the cards, 4,000, 3,000, and 1475. If you got a card that looks like a 10, you're not going to get it, but what are you going to get? An 8, a 9? You're still going to have a card that's worth 4 figures, right? And sometimes really good 4 figures, 4,000, 3,000, 1475. And these cards are cards you can get. If you look at this chart and you look at the cards that are sorted by, let's go back to small, nope, I didn't mean to do that, undo that. Let's go back to the highest gem percentage. look how many sales that you can come across, right? So for the Ultra Abilities, 15, for the hot numbers, 27. This is just in the last 12 months ending Q1 2025. These cards are showing up at least once a month, sometimes twice a month in PSA 10, in PSA 9 condition. And so a lot of us have been suppressed and kind of pushed down off of the PSA 10 mountaintop into the PSA 9. I've actually migrated primarily into the BGS 9.5 for whatever reason. I just feel comfortable buying BGS 9.5s. I do still think BGS 9.5s are maybe a notch above PSA 9. That's just my personal opinion, man. And I'm old, so BGS is fine with me, especially when it applies to 90s cards. A vast quantity of my Michael Jordan collection is in BGS slabs. I think I did a video where I calculated the percentage. I can't remember what it is. If you want to, you can go in your Fanatics Vault. If you've got all your cards in the Fanatics Vault, that's the beauty of it, is you can search by BGS. It gives you a number, and then you can just search. You search BGS Michael Jordan, and it spits out a number. And then you search Michael Jordan, it spits out a bigger number, and then you just divide. And now here, that's just how quick it is for me to tell you what percentage of my collection is in BGS, right? And so that might be a good video, just to kind of show what percentage of my Michael Jordan card collection is in a particular grade. That would be an interesting video. In fact, I'm curious about that. Maybe I'll do that. Anyway, hopefully this data helps. Again, this gentleman, David Talbot, thank you so much for sending this in. He didn't ask for anything in return. He's not getting money. I'm not paying him. He's not paying me. I just wanted to share some amazing research that Jordan collectors all over the world are doing stuff like David's doing and like I'm doing. I've got spreadsheets coming out my ass. You will have no idea. I've literally got probably 70 to 80 spreadsheets that I work through in the way that I collect sports cards. Not all Michael Jordan, but a lot of them are Michael Jordan. And when David sends me data like this, I use it. It matters. It makes sense. It helps you make educated decisions. It makes you make intelligent decisions on whether to grade a card or whether not to grade a card. And using Card Ladder, which is an affiliate partner of mine. If you're interested in Card Ladder, which is where we saw some of the data that I shared on today's video, check out my YouTube description. There's a link on there. Use the link and go subscribe to Card Ladder. It's too cheap, in my personal opinion. It's the pricing tool and the data tool that I use for all of my decisions that I make collecting Jordan cards and every other card, soccer cards, whatever. But thank you guys so much. David's not the only person that provides great content and great ideas to the channel. Part of the beauty of growing and finally having a little bit bigger platform is that I get unsolicited, phenomenal support and data from people out there in the hobby. Like I got a message literally 20 minutes before I hit record on this video, and it said, hey, Special Forces PSA 9 just sold for this. Can you believe that? That's an all-time record. Well, that stuff's important to me. Like, I like to know that kind of stuff because I like to talk about it on the channel. I just did. So that's the kind of stuff that keeps me going. I don't think I've ever been this excited about making content about collecting Michael Jordan cards. I've got some amazing projects that are in the work. Some of them are hierarchy related. Some of them are an offshoot of the hierarchy. A lot of them are Michael Jordan centric type videos that I've got planned coming up in the very near future. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the stuff that I'm putting out there, and hope to see you guys at the National. So thank you guys for watching. As always, keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby, and peace.